everybody, and welcome to, I believe this is the first episode of the Chatting in the City podcast. And the Chatting in the City podcast is brought to you by the V-TRaC Lab, which V-TRaC stands for Vulnerability, Trauma, Resilience, and Cultural Laboratory at the University of Ottawa. The podcast is part of the Become Heal project, an initiative by the V-TRaC Lab to explore mental health in the Black community and to sort of develop some culturally adapted interventions. Within the bigger project, there's also, several initiatives to sort of extend awareness, raise awareness, destigmatize and educate and mobilize Black people about mental health. And obviously the larger project itself, the Become Heal, is sponsored by the Public Health Agency of Canada, my bad. And I am your host, Boaz. I'm here with a special guest, one of my favorite people, Jean-Luc. JL, Big Baby. What is it? Big Baby J?
Big Baby J, that's the nickname.
Yeah. All right, so to start this off, how you doing today, bro? How are you?
I'm doing good. A little tired, a little hungry, but I'm doing well. How about you, bro?
Not bad.
How you doing?
Woke up this morning, ran a 6K for the first time in like 2 weeks. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. Damn.
My body is just because I've been doing it before, so I'm kind of used to it, or at least I got used to it. But then I went back to it after taking like a 2-week break. It was rough, bro. I was trying to I couldn't breathe. It was kind of hot too, so I was like, but yeah.
Damn. Well, good for you. At least you got that in. You got a little workout in. Yeah.
You live right down the street, and obviously we're doing this, over Zoom. It's just kind of funny and weird, but obviously there's a virus going around. It's a pandemic. People are supposed to stay in their homes. And I was just recently traveling, so I'm not really supposed to be in contact with anybody. So
yeah, fair point.
I ask you, how are you doing with the lockdown? How, with the whole virus, people working from home, some people losing their jobs. How do you?
Yeah. Like for me personally, I got very lucky, very blessed that in my job I can do it from home. Mm-hmm. I actually have my phone situated where my work office, home office is. So I have like the desk, the laptop, everything, the screens. So it's pretty good. I definitely feel like this pandemic, it was weird for me at first. At first, I was kind of enjoying it, spending some time away from the office, the traveling, but I went through a phase where I was really having some trouble with it, you know what I mean? And now I've reached a phase of it where you kind of like almost accept it and you just adjust to what it is, so
it's become the new norm, so you're sort of you're in the game.
You just accept it at this point rather than fight it or feel some type of ways about it.
And another question was what are some of the things you find yourself doing to cope? Because obviously, like you said, people are losing their jobs. Some people are getting really sick. Some people are dying, unfortunately. People losing family members. And obviously, we're all locked in. We're not supposed to go out and see our friends. So there's that whole social interactions been taken away from us. The best thing we have is this, Zoom calls, right? Mm-hmm. What are some of the things you find yourself doing to cope? Because personally, I started doing like little carpentry projects. I made like a little TV stand, right? I started baking a lot. I made a granola. So like those are some of the things I probably wouldn't have done if lockdown wasn't happening. But I just started doing.
Mm-hmm. Yo, honestly, I heard a lot of people were doing that baking. There was even a phase where everybody was baking. So it's good. It's cool. It's interesting to hear that because you're definitely not the first person to mention that. I've heard a few people say that.
People making bread everywhere. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. For me personally, at first, I was like, okay, this is a chance to just level up, meaning work out, improve my, improve my anything, improve just self-improvement. I went through a big phase of that. Mm-hmm. And then after that, like a month later, maybe like 3 weeks later, I got really, really, really sad and low, and my spirit was low because, as you know, me, I'm a social guy. I love being around people, all that energy, right? So I felt really low, and unfortunately, I was drinking a lot and not really, smoking a lot, not really looking after my health, eating unhealthy foods. But then I think about a month ago, I came out of that, and now I'm pivoting getting back to the self-improvement as I was doing before. But there was a little weird phase for a little bit, you know? So
Yeah,
yeah.
but to be fair, like that's only to be expected, right? You're kind of like
Mm-hmm.
you know, your whole social, like you said, you're a social guy. You like to be, you know, be with your people, have a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
like that's taken away from you all of a sudden, and you know, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, and Zoom calls are not really the same as being in person. That's how I feel, you know?
Exactly. It's just it's unfortunate, but it is what we
Mm-hmm.
gotta do. And I guess like, my other question was, like you said, you got a little sad for some time,
Yeah.
obviously, and then that
Yeah.
sort of which happened to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Myself, I think I want to say that just like you, the first I guess the first month was like, well, this is fine. I get to stay home, you know, do my schoolwork, do whatever it is that I'm doing. I was fine with it.
Yeah.
And then like I want
Yeah.
to say like 2 months in, 3 months in, started like really hitting me like, whoa, we can't really see our friends. We can't, you know, let's say go to parties or whatever. And
No.
it was funny because the first time I met up with some of my friends, you know, we just went to the park, you know, walk a little bit. And I kind of like I
Mm-hmm.
realized something that happened to me. It was I'd lost some of my social kind of like social skills in a weird way. Like especially talking
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
people in person, I felt like I was just a little bit slower in terms of like, you know, just I guess, you know, making jokes, doing this and that. And also like it was a weird thing that happened where I felt like I don't know if you've ever had this, but I felt like I was watching myself about to speak.
Hmm.
Kind of like
Never really experienced that. Hmm.
almost like I was watching my words before I said them. Because usually it's kind of like when you're with friends, it's sort of you just say whatever and they say whatever, you just kind of keep going,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I
Yeah, I
almost
get
felt like
what you mean.
I almost felt like I was watching myself about to speak, so like it made sense because I feel like I'd been in my head for so long, right? And
Oh, I
then
see what you're talking
getting
about.
it out was kind of like I had to be like, okay, well, this is what I'm trying to say. Da, da, da. It was almost like I was a kid again, trying to like speak to new people that I've just met for the first time. It was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah, you felt that
It was weird.
almost not really a social anxiety, but you just felt kind of reserved. Like you felt maybe filtered. You felt like it wasn't the natural you. It wasn't flowing yeah, yeah. Definitely, I had feelings of that too. When I first started seeing the homies again, it was just it was almost like getting back on a bike. You know what I mean? Yeah, it
Oh,
takes
right.
some time, and you haven't biked in a long time. I know that feeling. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
weird. It was really weird.
Weird. Very strange.
All right, so then something else I wanted to ask you about. Do you feel like, obviously, the Black community is, do you feel like there are any stigmas regarding mental health in the Black community?
I think there's a lot of stigmas, man. There's always that thing where you're like, you're crazy, something's wrong with you, like you're
Right.
definitely, it's not like, other communities, especially like the white communities, you know what I mean? Where they fully embrace therapy and they're like, yeah, yeah, I have this mental issue. I'm really on these pills, or I see this therapist, you know?
Mm,
It's just weird, even among my friends, I think some of them should go to therapy,
okay.
even amongst the family, we're Rwandese, we're African, right? So
Mm,
in our community, those things don't get discussed. It's almost like religion and, church is a form of
exactly.
mental
Yeah.
health or therapy for us. So it's not even discussed, man. These things are never discussed in our community, especially as Africans. That's my experience. I'm not a Caribbean. I'm not American, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah.
only speak for as an African Rwandese person. You know what I mean? In our community, never discussed.
Right,
Never, never,
right.
never, never,
But yeah,
never.
it makes
And
sense
I
because
think it should, though.
yeah, it definitely should. And I was just gonna ask,
Mm.
like you said, sort of like our mental health, like the church becomes sort of like your place to, you know, sort of go and pray and deal with your, you know, mental health
Yeah,
issues, right? Which
for sure.
obviously we come from a religious family, and so I guess I wanted to
Mm.
ask you to sort of, you know, tag onto that last question. Have you ever felt like you shouldn't feel the way, let's say, you know, like, I don't know, the last month when you're feeling sad? Have you ever felt like you shouldn't be feeling sad because obviously you go to
Mm.
church, you pray? Um, have you ever felt like that was a thing?
Yeah, definitely. You feel weird about it. You feel because generally I'm a very positive person,
Right.
and I try to be optimistic, right? But and also, um, in the Bible, it talks about give thanks, you know, be grateful. Those are huge in the Bible, right? And I did sometimes feel guilty because I'm in a very blessed situation, graduated, working full time. I'm not having coronavirus. I'm generally in okay health, you know, pretty good health.
Right.
I'm young. I'm not old. I'm not struggling. Like, you have a lot of blessings, you know? And at times, it's almost like you feel guilty that you do have some depression, some sadness. It's like, you
Mm,
know, so
right, right.
in a religious context, yes, sometimes you feel weird. The fact that, hey, I could go to church or I can, you know, pray about it. But sometimes you got to do more than that. You know, you got to go see a therapist, or you got to like really find real solutions. Um, you know, because it's more than a religious thing. It's, you know, it's a mental thing. And spirituality, yes, religion can help a lot, but there's other things that you have to work through that maybe the Bible doesn't have answers for, or prayer, or seeing a pastor. There's other ways, you know? But
Exactly.
as a
This
religious person, definitely plays a role. Definitely has played a role,
right.
100%, you
Like
know?
it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to either, you know, you either go to your pastor for help, or you go to the therapist. It doesn't have to be either. You can have both, right? You can go to church and
Yes,
pray, and then obviously go to your therapist and get help there as well.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, Speaking of therapists, have you ever felt like I mean, is there a time when you felt like these stigmas in our community, let's say the religious Black community, when you feel like these
Mm.
stigmas held you back from asking for help from a therapist, say, oh,
Mm.
reaching out to a pastor who might know somebody who's a therapist? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, you know what, for sure. Like, I never really even knew about therapy until maybe 4 years ago. You know what I
Mm,
mean? I never really understood it or heard of it. Every single thing like that, you always get that thing from your parents, from the church, from you, your pastor. Oh, go to God, go to the Lord, go to Jesus, you know?
right.
You gotta pray about it, read the Bible about it. And these are things that, you know, if it's some coming to mental health, is deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's more than that. It's not necessarily deeper than that, but I'm saying you got to go to like a professional. You know what I mean? So I just
Yeah.
personally, for me, I just never felt the need to go to a therapist or a counselor or anything like that. I felt like, okay, I could just pray about it, or I could just tough it out. You know what I'm saying? And some people can do that.
Right.
Definitely, some people can definitely do that, can definitely use the Bible and, you know, go through those means. At least in the Black community, that's what a lot of people generally do. But I think if we were to embrace it, you know, as a community, and actually go to therapists, I think it would be a great positive thing for us, for sure. Because I personally believe all Black people have been affected by some form of mental health thing, man. Especially living in
Yeah.
this society. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I want to say that part of it is sort of like this, obviously the culture around it, the culture of mental health, which means
Oh yeah,
the fact that we don't necessarily talk about it within ourselves or within our families or little communities means that we don't necessarily try to ask for help or find help,
oh
because
yeah, yeah,
the resources are there. Let's say for we both went to. I mean, you graduated from the University of Ottawa, and like there
mm-hmm.
are always helps. There are always helplines. We actually have there's a clinic on campus that you can actually go to.
Yeah.
Obviously, you
There
have to
is.
make an appointment and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily know about them because you don't talk about it. And so because you don't talk about it, nobody's gonna tell you. Be like, hey, there's actually a clinic here. You can get help from here
It's
or
not
here or here or
a,
here.
it's not an efficient one, but it's there.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know
It's
what
not
I'm
efficient,
saying?
but it's there. Yeah, and there's also like helpline,
Yeah,
call lines and stuff like that. But it's
of course.
unfortunate. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Yeah, we don't really talk about it, but there's resources. There's ways. You know. Yeah.
exactly. And what does self care mean to you? Obviously, this is a time when self
Mm.
care is important, right? People are stuck at home, like we
Yes.
were saying earlier. They're stuck at home. You're not necessarily leaving the house. So,
Mm.
what does self care mean to you? What have you been doing to sort of
Okay. I'll answer that in two parts. You know, Self-care to me is really important. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Taking care of yourself, recharging, taking time to actually, take care of you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, Now, what have I been doing in terms of self care? Most recently, I've been starting to go back to the gym. As I said before, I went through a weird phase where I was just like drinking way too much and eating delivered food way too much. So I got a little bigger, a little chunkier. But not always a bad thing. But in this case, we 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 trying to minimize some of the chunkiness,
Trying to
so
minimize. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because as I said in the very beginning of this quarantine, I was going hard. I was lost like 10 pounds. So now we're gonna double up and get back to the right thing. Because for me, self care is not only just working out. Self care is like reading a good book. I've been reading some interesting books.
Nice.
And things like that. Self care is just doing things that get you out of your head, just taking care of yourself, making yourself feel better. I've been watching some movies. I went to the Cineplex when they opened it. Things like this, self care, taking my time to take care of me.
Right,
And I
right.
think that's super important to me, like huge. You know what I mean? Hmm.
You mentioned that you're reading some books. What are some of the books you're reading right now?
Yes, sir. I'm reading 12 Rules to Life by Jordan Peterson.
This guy.
And, really, really, really a fan of that guy. And I just finished 48 Laws of Power. So
Okay.
I'm feeling good about the reading list. And, that Antidote to Chaos book by Jordan Peterson, 12 Rules of Life, I highly recommend. It's a good, solid book.
All right.
Like a long read, but it's solid.
But
Yeah.
yeah, self-care is important. Like you just said, I think you and I guess, are in the same boat in terms of what we think self-care is. I do think physical activity is important, right? Getting out there, obviously going to the gym if you can, or
Yes.
just going for a walk, going for a run. I kind of realized you said something really important, doing things to get yourself out of your head, right?
Yes.
I can almost track my well-being with whether I've worked out that day or sort of stretched out or whatever. I just feel like obviously growing up playing sports and
Mm.
playing sports for such a long time that that's sort of gotten ingrained in me. In fact, the sports have been taken away. There are no leagues happening right now.
Yes.
I need to do something. I just need to do something, like you said, to get yourself out of your head. And if I don't, let's say I wake
Yeah.
up and I mean to just stretch and go for a run, and I don't do that, I'm gonna be in a bad mood all day. It's something that I've noticed. I'm gonna be in a bad mood all day. If I actually wake up, I stretch, I go for a run, I do whatever I need to do, and then sort of
Yeah.
like my day just brightens. It's something that's really
Absolutely.
fascinating. I don't know how it works. It's actually something I want to study. But it's really fascinating to me. But
To the endorphins, man, the happy hormones, you know what I mean? Those are really important. And, especially us being young, it's important then. Well, actually, on any age, it's important to at least get
yeah,
some physical activity. They recommend 30 minutes every day, but, it's even more is good. You know what I'm saying?
more is good.
Uh,
More is good.
yeah.
More is
Hmm.
always good. All right, so some of the fun questions here. Let's say you're stuck on an island. What are three things
Mm.
you absolutely cannot live without? And remember, like, it's pandemic, lockdown.
Ooh.
We're basically on islands, right? You're stuck on little islands with your family members.
Yeah, yeah.
Three things.
Interesting. Three things. Like for me, I think I need a book. I don't know
Okay.
exactly which book, but
A
I,
book in
I,
general. All
I
right, all right.
just a book, something to read, something to pass some time. That's a good question. What are two other things? Three things I need. Is it weird to say phone? Phone. I would say phone.
Hey, bro, it's your own island. It is your
Yeah,
island. You can probably decide to have a cell phone tower in the middle of the island instead of having a house or a hut. It's your choice.
you know what I'm saying? Maybe I can YouTube how to build a hut or something. I don't know.
You too.
I'll go with a cell phone. I'll go with a book. I'll go with a cell phone.
Okay.
And let's have some fun. Let me have a boat. I'll have a
A
boat.
boat.
Yeah, I would want to have a boat. Look, not only because me, I don't know how to ride boats or do. I think I would learn. I maybe go some fishing, get a stick, find some rope. You know what I mean? Yo,
Oh my
I have a
God.
boat. You know what I'm
If I'm
saying?
stuck on an
And
island,
if
what
I
am
want
I?
to, if I want to leave the island, I can use the boat. Boom.
That's true. This is true.
Yeah, you know.
I'm trying to
I'm
think.
like,
If I'm stuck on an
mm,
island, what do I need?
mm.
I need music somehow. Something to play music. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so one music I would need. I'll take a ball, and then
Oh,
God, what
nice.
else?
A soccer ball, I'm assuming.
Just any
It has to be
something. I mean, it has to be, but it's like if it's football, I don't care. I'll make
okay.
do
Something
anything.
to
Just
take
something,
it.
to just play around with. And then
Gotcha.
another one. Oh my God,
It's not an easy one, right? It's
it's not
hard to
easy.
figure
No,
out.
it's not easy.
No.
So music, some sort of ball to just kick around or run around, and then clean source of water, bro. That's what I need.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're not doing that
Breathe.
Flint, Michigan, huh? You're doing something different.
No,
I
I need my
see you.
water. I need my water. Oh, you
Yeah, fair
mentioned that
point.
that you went back to to the movie theater to watch a movie. What was that
Yes.
like? First of all, what was that like, and what did you see?
Um.
And then,
Mm.
what's do you have a favorite film?
Well, favorite film, Lion King. Always gonna be my favorite. Love it.
Okay.
Love Lions. I love Disney movies. Classics. What did I go see? I went to see this movie Unhinged with
Mm-hmm.
Russell Crowe. It's like a thriller drama type movie. How was it? So basically, it was pretty interesting because the way the theaters are, they're doing, I believe, 30% capacity, and they're doing social distancing there too. So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta wear a mask at every point until you actually sit down, similar to a restaurant, and everything restricted. So if you think like a movie theater has, for example, let's say a regular movie theater's packed, 300 seats, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be like 20 seats are available or something like
Right.
and it's going to be less staff. There's like one person serving popcorn, period. Two people just ripping tickets. And it was very, very low scale. You know what I mean? But it was a good experience, man. Because personally, I love movies. I love actually going to the movie theater. Like I like that
The
experience.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going there for the experience because you can pretty much watch everything on demand now. But I
Yes,
went for
sir.
the experience and I had a good time personally. So
All
yeah,
right. Now, that was a
yeah.
quick question. Is there a song that you listen to in difficult situations to sort of, something to put you in a good mood?
Mm, uh, for sure. I like. I don't know about all time, but I always go through moods and times. Like right now,
Mm-hmm.
that song is "That Way" by Lil Uzi Vert. I like Uzi a lot, so it's almost like it has nothing to do with like encouraging lyrics or
Okay.
anything about that, but like it's just the way that the song sounds,
Mm.
and just what Uzi says in it, it just works.
Okay.
He
Okay.
sampled "I Like It That Way" by Backstreet Boys, so you
That
know
way.
what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I
Okay.
call it that way. It really it lifts my mood. I don't know why. And also "Bank on It" by Burna Boy. That's a really good song too.
Bank on it, Burna Boy, Lil Uzi Vert. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm trying to think.
yeah,
What song would I listen to? It also, I guess, it depends for me on the mood as well. But
yeah.
like weirdly enough, I don't know. Like a few years ago, I started listening to just like full length albums. I don't
Full
necessarily do
length albums.
like
Okay.
singles. So I used to work with this girl. Um, we're talking about music, and she was saying that she doesn't actually know anything about the artists that she listens to. She just likes the song, and she
Interesting.
listens. So she only listens to singles, and she knows absolutely nothing about the artists themselves. It's a good song. I like it. I know nothing. And I was like,
Okay.
"You're not at all curious about the people who wrote the song?" Because I'm like, how can you love a song and not care about the person who wrote the song, right?
Yeah.
But she never did. But I'm trying to think of songs that I would listen to.
Even
Um,
something recently that just, if you're in a bad mood or I
Most
don't know.
recent, Leon Havas put out an album. I would say that whole album. I'll just play it front to back again and again and again and again and again, and that's it.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a
Okay.
really good album. All
Proper. I
right,
might check it out. Might
yes,
peep that.
please. And before we go, I guess I want to ask you: is there a quote or a mantra that you live your life by? Something that just sort of gets you up in the morning, say it to yourself when you wake up, and let's get out there and kill things?
I wouldn't think. I don't think I have one. I don't have one at all.
Okay.
But what does motivate me, or at least keep me going? Well, I not necessarily keeping me going, but something that I always meditate on and I always think about is my family. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Okay.
And how blessed I am and how grateful I am in where I am and what I can do for my family. Especially recently, I got super closer with my family. So I'm doing my best. I always look at it like,
Woo, that was close.
you
This
know what
guy
I
was like,
mean?
I got close, not closer.
Closer.
That's
What I mean?
That's funny.
Yeah. So I think when I wake up in the morning, just thinking about my family, thinking about how blessed I am, and thinking what I can do for them and help and do that keeps me going. I think that more than a mantra could, at least. Do you have a mantra? Should I employ a mantra? I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't have one either because it's like it's
Mm-hmm.
almost like it makes me think of tattoos, right? Something that
Oh yeah,
you
okay.
because a mantra is metaphorically something that you essentially tattoo on your chest, right? This is you. This is the thing you live by. And like
Yeah.
in my mind, like there's no tattoo out there that I would ever get that I would not want to scratch off my skin within the first week. So I guess I'm kind of like there are things that I read that really stick with me, but then there isn't necessarily one thing that I'm like, this is it, this is who I am, and this is what I live by.
It's a
But
very deep question. It's not easy for
yeah,
sure. Trust.
but family's a really good answer though in terms of
Oh yeah.
it's your everything essentially. So
Well, you know what? Keep in mind, I didn't feel this way before, so it's a new thing. You know what I mean?
ooh,
I didn't feel this way before. Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to bring something to mind, but if it doesn't come to mind, like that, it's not necessarily when you live by, right? So
Exactly.
yeah,
If it doesn't come that quick, then.
exactly. Anyway, dude, thank you so much. You were
Mm.
you were a wonderful guest. I'll probably see you within the next little bit in person because you live right
Yeah,
there.
sir. I
So like,
literally you live right there. You know what I'm saying? Crazy.
but yeah, man, thank you for listening.
Anytime.
And yeah, man, this has been the first episode of Chatting in the City. We'll see you next time.